I feel like a Victorian person getting recorded for the first time.
Yeah, so which one of you is giving the lecture?
Can't be me.
Who's giving the lecture right now? Oh, is it Tyler? Is Tyler giving the lecture? Is that why he's in my spot in front of the TV? So I can give the lecture? Thank you. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you. Disco Elysium lecture is going to be a little while, so please wait while I prepare that. And also, shut up! Shut up! Shut up, everyone! Shut up! Thank you. Today we're going to talk about Donkey Kong 64 Apologia, why this game is actually one of the best games in the console, possibly the best collectathon platformer ever designed, ever made, ever, by anyone. And I'm not hearing any objections, so I'm going to assume we can just continue without any sort of questioning on whether or not I'm right on this or not.
I object on the basis that it's Roland.
-1. Anyways, it's the year is 1982, right? And there are these two brothers named Tim and Chris Stamper. They're both British.
I'm out.
I think this guy is the older one because he's bald. And they together found a video game studio called Rare, later named Rareware, later renamed back to Rare. We're just going to call it Rareware to avoid any confusion, alright? Fuck, I have to walk back. Fucking thing. And they make a game called Jetpack! Who remembers Jetpack? Anyone? Anyone remember the Sinclair the Sinclair ZX Spectrum? Anyone remember this? No? No, but no, not a single soul.
Nope.
Nobody.
Nope.
Damn. They made a game called Jetpack and it was really successful. And after that, they made a bunch of games for this console. The ZX Spectrum, the ZX, what the fuck ever. They're British, so they pronounce it wrong. They make a game called Cookie. Anyone remember Cookie or Confright?
Nightshade.
Nightshade. Wait, where are you seeing Nightshade? Oh, over there. They made Nightshade. They made Saberwolf. They made a bunch of games, right?
I've heard of Saberwolf in passing.
That's because it's referenced in Banjo-Tooie. And also, maybe it was a good game. I don't know that much about it. But, anyways, they make all these other games, and they make them, and they're really successful. They become, the biggest studio in the UK. They're the #1 studio. They're publishing everything under this Ultimate Play the Game subsidiary or whatever, so this is the publishing company that doesn't last past this generation of consoles. They do so well, Nintendo decides to team up with them. Because if you want to do business in the UK, why not sign up with the biggest UK company, right? So they sign up in the 90s with Rareware, and they give them a deal. Rareware, if you make games exclusively for our console, we'll give you one IP of your choice. It could be any IP you want. And I want you to imagine, if you're Rareware in this situation, what IP do you pick?
Mario.
Mario? Anyone else?
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong? Anyone else?
Sonic.
Nintendo doesn't own that. But of course, they pick Donkey Kong, as we all know, and they make the best game ever made, Donkey Kong Country. This was made for the SNES in 1994, so the SNES has been out quite a long time. Sells like a bajillion copies, saves the universe. What's interesting about this game is that they do this thing, because it was the first pseudo 3D game that was made. What they did was they made and animated 3D models. They actually went into a zoo to study how animals move, like animators would. And then they animated these models, and then they just took 2D PNGs of the models' animations and put them in the game. And that's why the game looks sort of like clay figure, maybe a little stiff or something, but it looked impressive for the time especially. It has a really nice art style that a lot of people love, and it was so successful it got 2 sequels. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. By the way, fun fact, this is the game that introduced us to Diddy Kong and King K. Rool. This is where these characters come from.
Oh, so Dixie Kong was already...
The first game doesn't have King K. Rool?
No, King K. Rool wasn't a thing until Donkey Kong Country.
Who the fuck is the villain in the first game?
King K. Rool. I'm saying in the whole series. The whole series
Donkey Kong
introduces...
was already in Mario before they made this, so...
Diddy Kong, King K. Rool, Dixie Kong comes later in Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. And then she's also the main character in Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble.
Wait, it's Diddy's, not Diddy?
Diddy's Conquest. And then Dixie Kong's Double Trouble.
I just got that part.
Yeah.
Like, just now.
Yeah. And then
his Conquest.
Dixie Kong's Double Trouble features Kiddy Kong, which is this person right here, who is, like, I believe, like, the baby brother of Dixie Kong, who is also Diddy Kong's brother. I don't know the familial relationships between these people. I know some of them.
Fake fan.
Yeah, fake fan. But you might notice this came out in 1996, the same year as Super Mario 64, another game that changed the world. Everything was different when this game came out. Everyone was like, 3D platformers are the future. This is how you do them. Ocarina of Time comes out 2 years later, also changes the world. Why aren't we making games in 3D? Why isn't Rareware making games in 3D? That's so weird, isn't it? And so they decide, you know what, we are going to make 3D games. We're going to work on this game called Pro-Am 64, right? It's featuring the iconic character Timber the Tiger. He flies a little airplane and stuff, and he like has to save the world from like an evil wizard pig called Whizpig. Thing is, Nintendo takes a look at this and is like, this is really cool. What if Donkey Kong was in it? And so it becomes Diddy Kong Racing.
That looks so much cooler.
Are you sure about that? Because the thing is, when I look at this, Diddy Kong's the only Donkey Kong character in this. There's Tip Top. You guys remember Tip Top? There's Pipsy.
Yo, Tip Top's a squirrel, or not a squirrel, a turtle.
A turtle. Yeah, there's just random characters in this game because it was originally going to be Pro-Am 64. This was a change so late in development that they were still that they already manufactured Pro-Am 64 merchandise, which is how we know this game existed. Some people just got Pro-Am 64 merchandise for a game that never came out, got called Diddy Kong Racing instead. There's like a freaking, whatever that is.
The big red hen from Dora!
Yeah, there's like a big red hen.
What? Who's that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
How'd he get there?
That game does well, right? It's a pretty successful game.
Dream.
Yeah, Dream. Flashback, while they were still developing for the SNES sometime after Donkey Kong Country 3, they're working on this game called Project Dream. Basically, you play as this dude and his village is being invaded by pirates, led by this guy, Captain Black Eye. See, get it? Like Captain Blackbeard? Like, was it Thatch? Like Edward Thatch?
Yeah, Edward Thatch.
Is it that? And I'm asking because I don't know.
Yes,
no, yeah, Edward Thatch.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I know there's also Michael Teach or whatever from the other whatever. That guy's in it, and this game gets far in development. But like because it's on the SNES and people are moving towards 3D, they decide that they're going to readapt this game. They're going to take some of the characters from this game and put them in another one. It's kind of weird. It's a weird mashup. They call it Banjo-Kazooie for some fucking reason. It has like these little jiggies that you collect and you explore worlds. This game doesn't...
Snooze fest.
This game... Yeah, exactly. This game doesn't even have goals. Instead, you just get launched into a world and it's just a scavenger hunt to find these fucking golden jiggies. But the thing is that it's like the best fucking game ever made. It's like 9.5 out of 10 on Metacritic. Metacritic has it as one of its must-play games. It is a huge success. It is one of the best-selling games on the Nintendo 64, as we can see right here. Mario 64, of course, beating out everything else. Banjo-Kazooie at the bottom, but still there, you know?
At the bottom, bro.
You know? Star Fox 64.
Bombo card.
Wait, what the... Oh, I think there's a smudge on my screen. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. There's this other game called Donkey Kong 64. Outsells Banjo-Kazooie, Star Fox 64, and Diddy Kong Racing 300,000 away from outselling Pokemon Stadium and Super Smash Bros., the original. One of the biggest games on the console, bigger than Banjo-Kazooie. This game was a huge success, and it's weird because everyone seems to be very divided on this subject. So let's talk about Donkey Kong 64 for a little bit, because that is what the lecture's about, you know? The plot is Donkey Kong is just sort of hanging out at like his jungle, you know, as he does. All of his bananas get stolen by King K. Rool, which is so mean of him to do. Not just
kill him.
We should kill him, exactly. Not only does he steal all his bananas, he steals all his golden bananas, which are even more valuable than regular bananas.
We should kill him.
We should kill him. And he kidnapped all of Donkey Kong's friends. Diddy Kong, these other people, all of them are gone.
Funky Donkey Kong?
Where's Dixie, bro?
Dixie's gone. She doesn't show up in another game. She hasn't shown up since Donkey Kong Country 3.
Wait, are you serious?
As far as I'm aware, she might have been in like
Tropical Freeze.
Tropical Freeze. There we go. I didn't play Tropical Freeze.
I
did play Tropical Freeze, actually.
I know Funky Kong was in it.
It was pretty
I know
cool.
Cranky Kong was in it.
I don't like
Funky
playing
mode.
as Funky Kong in that game.
So yeah, and Donkey Kong's goal, he has to rescue his friends, get his golden bananas. Also, he finds out there's an orbital satellite pointed straight at his, like, island that is about to blow it up.
Oh yeah!
So he has to do all this while this island is at threat of being blown up, and he has to stop whatever the fuck King K. Rool is doing to try and destroy it. And that's the plot of Donkey Kong 64. That's what creates all of this. There's some other characters in it, and they're all like color-coded. That will come back later. You know, you got Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. You got Lanky Kong, which is a fan favorite for a lot of people. He's like the goofy one. He has like long arms for no reason, and he does like slapstick shit.
I hate looking at him.
He has a clown nose.
Because he's like the silly one. He is the silly one.
He's Gorilla the Spinner. He's a Rayatanga banging.
Stop talking. There's also Tiny Kong, who is like Dixie Kong, but not. She has the exact same abilities as Dixie Kong, except she can also shrink.
Because she's Tiny Kong.
Because she's Tiny Kong. And she also has like this Lisa Simpson thing going on for some reason, where she plays the saxophone. And I don't get it. I think that was just a thing in the 90s, I guess. Where it was like, oh,
she's not like the other girls.
She's not like all the other girls. She's smart and she plays the saxophone. And then there's also Chunky Kong, which is my personal favorite. I love fucking Chunky Kong, dude. Chunky Kong is like the gentle giant of the group. And because of that, him and Tiny Kong have a lot of moments that are really, like, funny.
If Funky Kong was lame?
Are you fucking serious? Do you think Chunky Kong is lame?
Yeah, Funky Kong solos.
I mean, I'm not arguing that Funky Kong is better than Chunky Kong, but you can't play as Funky Kong in this game. And he's also... Chunky Kong is different.
Where does Funky Kong come from, then?
Funky Kong comes from this game. I believe he shows up in Donkey Kong Country, but he also shows up in this game. He's the one that gives you your weapons.
Oh.
And he has like a hut and stuff where he does it.
Mentor rule Funky Kong, blah.
Yeah, and then there's also Candy Kong, which is the hot one for some fucking reason. Like every single like furry piece of media had to have the hot character.
Cunty Kong.
Exactly. So here's a reason. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is an important part of Donkey Kong 64, is that for some fucking reason, while this game was being developed, there was just a glitch where not a glitch necessarily, but a memory leak in the game where it would crash after 10 minutes. If you played the game for 10 minutes, the game would crash.
There's too much shit.
Total?
10 minutes, like, not total, but like 10 minutes straight, the game would crash. So if you tried to play this game for 10 minutes, game would crash. That's a problem, because people don't play for 10 minutes and then turn off the thing, you know, that's not a thing that happens. So, thing is, they couldn't figure out how to fix this bug, and they never did.
They couldn't figure out, huh?
They didn't.
They couldn't figure it out.
If you bought a copy of Donkey Kong 64, this bug is still in the game. You can put in Donkey Kong 64 and it will crash in 10 minutes, unless you have the Nintendo 64 expansion pack, which basically adds more RAM to the game and somehow fixes this bug, which makes it, instead of crashing in 10 minutes, it crashes in 10 hours.
Is it realistic to turn off the game every 9 minutes, 30 seconds, and then turn it back on and keep going?
I mean, it's realistic. It's
like,
not realistic.
Wise, can you?
It would be really fucking annoying if you had to do that. Especially since some of these challenges you'll play for hours straight.
Got it.
Because they are sometimes that difficult. So yeah, that's a bug that's in the game. And because of that, the game also has a lot of slowdown. It's very buggy, it's very janky. It's a joke in speedrunning communities that walls are suggested in this game because there are like 10 different ways you can clip through any wall in the game. It's very easy to like clip to the end of the world and then beat the game in like 10 minutes.
My God.
Yeah.
See, you only need 10 minutes.
I mean, if you're a god gamer, like not me, I beat this game in 3 hours. That's my best speedrun at this game was 3 hours. But another thing you might know about Donkey Kong 64.
Oh my God.
This is how a lot of people describe the gameplay loop of Donkey Kong 64 as a very complicated string of red arrows pointing at things, and it's basically trying to commute. Oh, you got to get banana coins so you can get your abilities to get your golden bananas, as well as getting the weapons that you need to get the golden bananas, as well as the banana. Then it's like all this complicated
Guys,
shit.
you don't know where this memory leak is coming from. We're all trying to find out who did this.
I don't think this is causing all the bugs in the game. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this is the main source of the glitches. is a really big game, and there's a lot in it. And the main criticism of this game is that there's so much stuff in it. Look at this. Banjo-Tooie, total collectibles in the game, 1,104. This comes from a video by Press A called Why People Hate Donkey Kong 64. As you can see, there's 90 Jiggies in Banjo-Tooie, there's this many, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You get it, right? Here's from Mario 64. 120 stars, this many red coins, boss keys, whatever. Total, 1,798. And then you look at Donkey Kong 64, whoa! 3,821 collectibles in this entire game?
Don't
That's
worry,
insane.
we're trying to figure out where this memory leak business happened.
It's so
We're getting
crazy,
to the bottom
right?
of it.
4,000 collectibles.
Once we find out which intern did this on accident.
So, here's the thing, right? You look at this chart and you go, wow, that's really crazy. But most of that is coming from the colored bananas, right? If you really think about it, if you're 100%ing Mario 64, you're collecting more than 1,500 coins, right? Because you beat the level multiple times, and each time you collect a certain amount of coins, and maybe if you're trying to be optimal, you get the 100 coin star while you're getting the red coin star. So you do them both at the same time. And if you're collecting the red coin star, you collect the red coins, that's less regular coins that you need. And there's also blue coins, which also decrease the amount of regular coins that you need. So you calculate it in your head. It actually doesn't take this many coins to beat Mario 64 because of how the different things you can collect to do that. And the thing is, same thing with Donkey Kong 64. You have, well, shoot. These are all the collectibles, you know, you have, I just did this whole thing just to show off. Look at all the collectibles in this game, you know? 100%, you need all of this. These are just like your equipment, or your replenishables and stuff. You collect banana fairies, you collect battle crowns, you collect banana medals. This looks like a lot. Blueprints. But counting the amount of collectibles in video games is a really bad argument for its quality, blah, blah, blah. Look, these are all the different collectibles, like all the different colored bananas you can get, right? Because that's the big brunt of why it's so big, is that there's 3,500 of these, right? But there's also banana bunches, which count for 5 bananas. And I don't know why it says pick mix in there. I never noticed that until now.
So they're counting all 5 of those bunched together as 5 separate ones for the sake of their 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how it's counted in the game as well. That's what it's considered. This is 5 bananas, but it's 1 collectible. It's just counted, it just gives you 5. And look at this. There are also banana balloons, which you shoot and you get 10 bananas out of. In fact, just to show you how this is, here's a Let's Play clip from this guy, Slim Kirby.
Doors and they have numbers on them.
He's about to get some bananas in this room, but can you find them? There doesn't seem to be any in this room.
You can probably figure out from just that what we need to do in here, and there's 30 bananas in here.
30 bananas in this room. Isn't that crazy? 10, 20, 30. You do have to shoot them, so it's a little bit of a challenge. It's not just walk in and grab them.
Here's Coca and a gun.
Can fire in spurts. If he shoots you, it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt. How did he miss that, by the way?
Okay, please, let us get
Is he stupid? This Let's Play is like 14 years old, by the way, and I love it.
Let's kill him. He's
This was my comfort video every night when I went to bed. I watched this. Let's kill him. Yeah. So right off the bat, right there, he got 30 bananas out of the 100 for that character in that world. Here's all of the colored bananas for Diddy Kong in this world. And you might notice, these are the 30 bananas that he collected. There's also this batch of 12 that you get on your way to this room, just in the production room of this world. There's also another 25 that you get just nearby in another golden banana that you have to collect. So right there, that's 67 colored bananas just from doing these 3 tasks. So really, when you think about it, like, oh, there's so many collectibles in this game, think about what you're actually doing. This gets you 30 from 1 task, this gives you 25 from 1 task, and this gets you 12 just on the way there. So really, there isn't that much you have to do if you're trying to 100% this game, let alone just playing the game casually. Here's another world. Chunky Kong in Fungi Forest. I color-coded these because, like, I thought that was really cool. I like the color coding in this game. It works with my brain. There's a lot more bananas in this. Not a lot more bananas, but there are, like, more separated. There's still 100 in each world for each Kong. And so as you can see here, 11 to 13, enter the Mushroom Tower first of all, blah, 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 climb up, get some bananas. Do the same thing described above. After climbing the first ladder, there's a banana bunch. Do the same thing above. Climb the ladder, find more bananas. Do the same thing above. Da-da-da, climb the bananas. Can you see what's going on here? It looks like there's a lot of bananas here, but it's literally the same task where you're climbing up this tower that you would have to do anyways for a casual playthrough. Finally, after doing that whole tower, you get 55 bananas. Just right off the bat from this one task you're going to do anyways. And if that doesn't, if this is still a little confusing, I have a little visual aid for you, just to illustrate how easy this is.
Actually has a lot of his normal bananas.
Chunky Kong has a lot of his normal bananas,
and they kind of lead up to the very top.
He's doing this top to bottom because he already headed up to the top doing some other stuff.
But yeah, he has like all these, just random bananas leading up the pathway of the mushroom.
So
one thing you could do is you can get to the very top and just take Chunky downward.
He's got his pineapple gun, he has the pineapples that he's also collecting, and then boom, there's some of his bananas. And then that keeps going. It's probably easier if you climb up than if you climb down.
It could be a bit more fun than going up.
But it could be more fun than going up. But yeah, so if you really think about it, it's not that hard to get all 3,500 bananas in this game. Especially if you're good at navigating worlds. If you're not, it's going to be a bit of a difficulty. It's not going to be easy. But if you're playing the game normally and you're new to it, you should be able to find 80 bananas in each world without too much trouble. It would be more tedious to get 100 coins in Mario 64 because when you die, you have to start all over again. Same with the notes in Banjo-Kazooie. If you die, you have to start all over again. You keep the bananas in this, so it's just you pick them up once and you never have to worry about it again, and you just go through the world doing that. It's easy. Isn't it easy, Ed? His mom's calling him.
We'll stop recording for this.
He's having.
All right. Whoa. So, what do you guys agree with me so far? Am I convincing anyone in the current audience? Jackson's nodding his head. That Donkey Kong 64 is actually pretty good. There aren't that many collectibles in it, actually, when you really think about it.
You've convinced me that the collectibles aren't a big deal, but you haven't convinced me that it's a good game.
Oh, well, that's going to be hard unless I make you play it. So, I mean, I could try. I'm going to try. I sure am going to try. Look at this. Let's go. Let's move on. We're going to talk about the golden bananas in this game. I like this artwork done by Mary255 on DeviantArt of just like these different colored golden bananas because they're all golden in the game, So it's like, oh, this is red gold. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Okay. And there's this other clip.
Sapphire.
I found this other clip. I don't know who this person is. I've never heard of him before. But he's playing Donkey Kong 64, and he finds this like barrel laying around, and that's so weird. And so he enters it, right?
Oranges doing?
Oh, those are like grenades you can throw, and those are actually collectibles. I forgot to put in the chart. So good eye.
No, that's more collectibles.
Well, that's not necessary for 100% though, but it is more collectibles. So yeah, as you can see, this is the timer started at 60 seconds, by the way, and about 15 have passed so far.
Jesus Christ!
This is still going, by the way. This keeps going. This won't end until this hits 0. I didn't, okay, I did not make you watch the whole thing, okay? But okay, listen, I know that looked bad. Let me explain. I know this looks bad. Let me explain, okay? So this is called a bonus barrel. Sometimes you do a task for a golden banana, but the game doesn't give it to you. Instead, it gives you one of these, where you have to do a mini game to get the golden banana. These suck and everyone hates them. Literally not a human soul will defend the bonus barrel.
I will.
Don't. However, this isn't like just something that I decided to throw in the game for no reason. This is meant to break up the regular monotony of just walking around and collecting stuff.
By giving you a whole different type of monotony, yes.
By giving you a whole different type of monotony, yes. But that's the idea that they're going with, right? And so, remember that video I explained why people hate Donkey Kong 64? They make a chart that says number of mini-games in Donkey Kong 64, and as you can see, these are all the Mario Party games, and this is Donkey Kong 64 right here.
Why are you competing with Mario Party in mini-game count?
At 81 mini-games, more than 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 Mario Party games.
Oh no, where is all this memory going?
well, here's the thing. Well, here's the thing. This is going to be the point where I start getting a little harsh on this guy, and I'm gonna bust this guy a little bit. I'm gonna Candace, you're so busted,
You're gonna bust his balls a bit.
I don't mean any ill will towards this guy. Press A. He's really cool. I have some contention with the points that he makes in this video.
So. Hour-long rant against him. Awesome. Let's kill this.
We're not gonna rant. Anyways, let's kill
It'll be like the Destiny
So here's
Shapiro
the thing.
debate.
This says there are 81 mini games in Donkey Kong 64, right? But this is not true. There are 16 mini games in Donkey Kong 64. See, he counted every time you have to play a mini game again as another mini game, and compared it to Mario Party, which are individual mini games. And if you played a Mario Party game, you know you would play every mini game multiple times throughout every course, most of the time. You would play you would definitely repeat a lot of the mini games there. So if you counted it in the way that he's counting these, this is how the number would be, yes.
Are you saying that that number there is how many games a person would play in one sitting of Mario Party?
No, I'm saying this is how many mini games there are in Mario Party, compared to how many mini games there are in Donkey Kong 64. He's comparing how many mini games there are in Mario Party to how many mini games you have to play in Donkey Kong 64.
I'm saying those, like, is that the number that you're comparing it to, like, in terms of duration of playing that?
I'm confused by the question. Could you rephrase?
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm getting it.
If you played a round of Mario Party, right? You'd play a mini game.
You'd play like 15 to 30 mini games depending on how it goes, right?
Well, there you go.
Well,
That's 15 and / or 30.
Well, no. This is not how many times you play a mini game in a round. This is how many mini games there are in total, right? Is that making sense?
In the whole game.
In the whole game, you would have, say, this one right here. This looks about like 57. There are 57 mini games in Mario Party 1 total.
Okay.
And you would play more than that, but you would repeat these mini games, right? But if you played it just for a round, you would play like 15 or 16 of them, right? And so there are like 15 or 16 different mini games in Donkey Kong 64. The reason he's getting this big number is because he's counting how many times you have to replay these mini games, which is a whole different argument that is also valid, but not the argument that he's making with this chart. I'm setting up here for something. Go ahead.
I'm following.
Okay, I'm setting up here for something. There is an argument here for why Donkey Kong 64 is bad, and I do agree with that argument. However, it's not being made by this chart, because the chart is making a false equivalent between two things, right? So, there aren't 80 bonus barrels in Donkey Kong 64, however. So, where is all that number? How many bonus barrels are there in Donkey Kong 64? Because he counted 80. I went ahead and counted myself. There aren't actually 80. There are 51. I added like a dramatic slide for some reason. 51 banana barrels, gold or bonus barrels, or whatever that you want to call them, in Donkey Kong 64. So it's not 80. So where is he getting the 80 number from? Because even if you add up all of the mini games, including the ones you don't have to play for 100%, like the tutorial games, the like games at the very end that you have to do to beat it, they're only 67. So where is he getting this big number from? And so let's watch a clip of him explaining this in the game.
Hell yeah, fuck this guy.
I like this guy, don't fuck this guy.
The final critique we're going to look at is the minigame.
I think we just disagree on video games.
I'm going to kill him.
I took a look at all 54.
He probably likes the same things I do. We probably are both like college graduate illustrators.
How many times they did. And
I like
I ordered them from least repeated minigames to the most repeated. Okay, so let's get into it. Starting with the least repeated. Stash Snatch is only played once. Mad Maze Mall, Speedy Swing Sortie, Splish Splash Salvage, and Stealthy Snoop are all played 2 times. Minecart Mayhem, Minecart Ride, and Busy Barrel Barrage are played 3 times.
Did you catch that? Did anyone catch that? Who here knows about Donkey Kong 64 enough to catch that? There isn't a minigame called Minecart Ride. Oh. He's counting the minecart stages as minigames.
Oh.
He's referring to... So if you're familiar with Donkey Kong Country, there are stages where you have to ride a minecart through the level. He's counting those as minigames. And there are 3 of them, but they're not minigames. They're just different stages. They're different levels. They're not minigames. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Peril Path Panic, Teetering Turtle Trouble, Batty Barrel Bandit, and Beaver Brother have to be played.
It's Beaver Brother, by the way. He gets it wrong.
And Big Bug Bash, Kremlin Kosh, Crazy Kong Clamor, and Searchlight Seek are all played 5 effing times.
5 effing times.
Noticed, but the only minigame not repeated was Stash Snatch. Out of 54 total minigames, there is only 1 that is original. Out of the 54 minigames, only 13 of them are actually different. Looking at this, I don't think there's any doubt that the minigames are repeated too often. I can see replaying a minigame once or twice, but 3 or 4 times is just too many.
Is it?
Yes, it is too many times.
Yeah, it's 60 seconds.
As someone who's played Donkey Kong 64, repeating a minigame like 3 times over the course of the entire game doesn't feel like a lot. Like, it feels like, especially with like Minecart Mayhem or anything, where they're like innovating on the mechanics of that minigame. But well, wait, what was my point again? Oh, but the Big Bug Bash, the Crazy Kong Clamor, by the way, don't look at the initials of that. All of them are repeated 5 times, and that's just too many times for a minigame that relatively isn't that interesting. Do you really want to play Crazy Kong Clamor 5 times over the course of a whole playthrough? You don't! It's bad! It sucks! And I agree that it sucks, and I don't like it. Valid argument against Donkey Kong 64. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen!
Fuck minigames.
Me and my homies hate minigames.
Not all of them, just most of them. Let's keep going, though.
And speaking of too many,
because we're still not at 81
that's
yet.
Another complaint about the minigames is that there's just too many of them. So I already mentioned that there's 54 barrel stage minigames, but what I didn't mention is that there's other minigames. There are 10 Hideout Hell minigames, 10 Battle Arena minigames, and 7 race minigames, which adds up to 81 in total.
Okay, so those aren't minigames at all? The battle arenas are like where you fight people, and that's like an arena thing. It's not a minigame. And races aren't essentially minigames. They're different things, right? Are we all following me on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Because I listened to this dark in my room one night, and I was going insane, because, like, am I wrong on this? Are they minigames? Is a race a minigame?
The Joker.
Is a race a minigame? And then I, like, calmed down.
Somebody tell me.
But by the
I have to know.
I had a grilled cheese after this. A little foreshadowing for what we're going to talk about. By the loose definition he's providing, a lot of things in Donkey Kong 64 could be minigames. So it wouldn't be 81, it would be a lot higher than 81, because this would be a minigame, and 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 basically every collectathon, foreshadowing is a narrative device. Let's give some charitability, though. If we count these all as minigames, then there's a lot of minigames in Banjo-Kazooie. In all collectathons. Or Mario 64, you know, when you race Koopa the Quick, that's a minigame now, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy, it's a little ridiculous, and I don't like it. But I want to, again, first of all, here's a chart that shows how many actual minigames are this. Using it accurately, it would be this amount, and I edited it better there. And so I was like, okay, that looks a bit more reasonable, especially around, like, this game's about 15 to 30 hours long. So that's a reasonable amount of minigames to spread throughout, like, 15 to 30 hours, right? And I just want to say, I don't hate this guy at all. I like him. I think you should hit that big subscribe button right there on press A. If you enjoyed this video, you should also show some support his way, because I don't hate this guy. I just want to emphasize as much as possible.
Go to his house.
He hates Banjo-Tooie.
Don't live in his walls. Stop that, Tyler.
He hates Banjo-Tooie.
He hates Banjo-Tooie.
And Donkey Kong Country 3, though.
But I don't think
Why?
it's not necessarily that he hates them. He's trying to describe why people hate them. And that it's true that Banjo-Tooie is a very contentious game.
It is?
It is. We're going to get into that in a bit.
Know that.
Because I saw
like,
this and I was like, okay, maybe there's some interesting arguments in this video. And I needed a break from what I was going through already. So I decided to watch the Banjo-Tooie video, right?
Next up is too many minigames. I'm basically defining anything that has a time limit or a score counter as a minigame. There are certain minigames like copying Mozart's song and the races against Canary Mary that are different enough from the regular gameplay that I would still classify them as minigames, even though they don't have a time limit or a score.
So just to clarify, then these are minigames. He is counting these as minigames. I just assume he didn't play Donkey Kong 64 and doesn't know about these, or like maybe he forgot about them while counting, or he's using some other source to decide what a minigame is, like the actual wiki that describes these minigames as minigames, meaning his definition isn't what he's going on. He literally names all of these specific games and other ones on the wiki I couldn't fit on the slide as minigames. That's where he's getting his source from, not like this weird, like anything that has a timer or a score counter. But remember, they're counting Copy Mozart's song as a minigame on the wiki, on the fandom wiki. If you played Banjo-Kazooie, this is not a minigame. You would know this isn't a minigame. Jackson, you played Banjo-Kazooie, right? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry to call you out like that. Anyone play Banjo-Kazooie in here?
No, but after this lecture, I kind of want to.
Yeah, Ed.
I've always wanted to try and pick that game up.
Yeah. Also, Zubba's minigame. First of all, not what it's called. Second off, it's just fighting a bunch of bees. It's not a minigame. They just call it a minigame on the wiki.
Well,
and
don't you have
what
an
it's
ethical obligation to fix the wiki now?
I have an ethical obligation to fix the wiki now, I guess. But these are minigames. And this is where he's getting the source from for why these are minigames, because he names basically anything that's listed on the wiki as a minigame is what he's going by. And if you do that, there's actually not that big of a difference between Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, as he argues in his own video, which is why he makes a second chart that says games per world and counts it that way, because technically Banjo-Tooie has one less world in it, so you're playing more mini-games per world, and he's using this as an argument for why there are too many mini-games in Banjo-Tooie. So he's sort of twisting so many things to make this argument work, and I think it's not, I think there's a way to make this argument, because there are a lot of mini-games in Banjo-Tooie. I'm not arguing that. This is not how you make that argument. You would not use math, is what I'm saying. You can't use math to quantify the human brain. Anyways.
And finally, we come to the worlds are too big complaint. This one was a little difficult. Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie both keep track of how much time you spent playing per level, so I tried to track down an average playtime for each level, but unfortunately, I couldn't find any such stat. So I had to get a little creative. I took the average time to finish the games and the average time to 100% the games, and divided them by the number of worlds in each game. It's not a perfect solution, but I think it's close enough where we can be happy with it. As you can see, Banjo-Tooie dominates in both categories, with an average of 2.94 hours for 100% and 2 hours for finishing the game. In fact, the average for finishing Tooie is higher than the average for 100% in Kazooie, which is just insane. And if I haven't convinced you, I also counted the number of words in a written guide for Kazooie and Tooie, which again is not a crazy.
Oh my god!
Idea of a level length. And as you can see,
Roland's gonna like Sigma transform
by having almost twice the amount of words, despite having one less level.
So he goes on by that, right? After that, he counts the amount of words per world in the guide that he's using to sort of quantify, look at how many words are in Grunty's Industries. Now we know why this game is so hated, is because Grunty's Industries has all these words in its guide. But the thing is, he only did this for Banjo-Tooie, so I got a little curious, right? And I decided to make my own chart. I was alone in my room, I made my own chart. I could have been doing fucking anything else with this, right? But I was like, okay, let's make a chart, right? And so I counted all the words per world in a guide to Banjo-Kazooie, and as you can see, there's actually quite a bit. Gobi's Valley has 1,000 words. It's the most words of any of these guides in this game, so you know Gobi's Valley is really the bad one here.
Can you go back to the last one so I can
Yeah, look at this one. And then look at this one, right? And so I got a little suspicious with these numbers, so I decided to add them all together. And it turns out that's not the total amount of words he said was in Banjo-Kazooie's guide. That's actually almost double. It's about as much as there is in Banjo-Tooie. So I got a little bit more curious, and I decided to count the amount of words in the Banjo-Tooie guide to make sure, like, to fact check, to make sure I got everything right, and I got everything wrong. It's not actually that amount. The way I added up the words in Banjo-Kazooie led there to being more words per world, and this would be more accurate. Like, my Hem Temple would have 781, which is about, like, it still has that same curve where there's a lot more, and then this has 2,400 words. So in evidence, I didn't actually prove anything, and I forgot what I was doing, so I closed my laptop and I got a grilled cheese. Whew. I needed a break from all of that, because I was going insane trying to understand, trying to comprehend this whatever hole I entered here, and I just wasn't doing that. I got a grilled cheese, I ate it. I watched like that TV show or movie. It was like the Penny from The Big Bang Theory was a spy, and she had a family. Does anyone know about this show? Because I just walked down and it was on, and I watched it.
I think you're going insane.
What color is my skin right now?
You know, we've seen this before with the sorcerer lecture.
The sorcery lecture? I'm about to cast the spell.
Hey, put your hand like this next to your cheek.
Like this? What does this mean?
I'm comparing the color of your hand compared to the color of your
Oh,
face.
that's a good call. Yeah, is this redder than this? By a significant amount?
I can notice it.
Okay, Ed.
Yeah, your face is definitely red.
Thank you. But remember, this is about dispelling the lies and slander of Donkey Kong 64, so I have no clue why I was talking about Banjo-Tooie, doing research on Banjo-Tooie for like hours on end. I guess I was just waiting for you to get the book done, you idiot. But anyways.
It was a fun side tangent.
I looked at the comments for the why people hate Donkey Kong 64 thing, and oddly enough, they're all supportive of Donkey Kong 64, which is weird, because if you hate Donkey Kong 64, you'd probably go clamor to this video to have your thoughts validated, but instead it's all people who like that game. Like, such nonsense. I beat the whole game 100% collectives in the time I had to play 1/8 of New Vegas. No one hates it. It's the highlight of the N64 period by a guy with that one boss fight from Majora's Mask as his profile picture. A lot of people supporting it. So I was like maybe there isn't any slander at all towards Donkey Kong 64, and I've been fed a false narrative by just a couple of people who hate it. And so I decided to rationalize what exactly am I arguing against here. I needed to reconfigure my whole thing here. And so I found the video why people hate Donkey Kong 64 cites this article, A Hat in Time to atone for the platforming sins of Donkey Kong 64.
By Griffin McElroy?
I don't know who that is.
Oh my god.
What?
Wait, who is that?
McElroy?
Wait, who?
The Adventure Zone guy?
Oh, wait, what is that?
The Monster Factory guy?
I don't know this person.
McElroy of the Adventure Zone? The D&D podcast of D&D podcasts?
My brother, and me?
My brother, and me?
I guess.
Monster Factory?
I didn't even notice this.
Their D&D podcast is a comic book I got at the library the other day.
So I guess this person's pretty well known, and they're also...
Griffin McElroy.
And he doesn't like DK64, so why should we?
Why should we?
He doesn't hate Donkey Kong 64. This is a piece of journalism where he's reporting on someone else's opinions of Donkey Kong 64.
I don't know.
And that person
Kent wrote the paper.
So this is John Carleave, the lead dev of A Hat in Time, which he's reporting on, who doesn't like Donkey Kong 64. And he says, quote, he says this quote about how it did a lot of bad things and that it was very tedious to collect everything in order to move on. And I said, is it though? And so I decided to investigate. No, this guy is not an elf. This is more Disco Elysium foreshadowing. So let's look at all the collectibles in Donkey Kong 64. And let's see, if you're trying to beat the game normally, what would it take to do that, right? And when you're trying to 100% it, what would it take to do that? And so I decided to find this, just to go through each collectible and do it this way. And we're going to start with the boss keys. Now, what do you think the boss keys are for? What do you think you get the boss keys for doing?
Opening the doors to bosses.
No. How do you get the boss keys is what I'm asking.
Oh.
You get the boss keys by beating bosses, which is something you have to do to beat the game anyways and to get 100%. So it's just on the road to what you're trying to do. You're already collecting these as you're moving forward. So we don't even have to worry about those, right? Because you're already going to get them. And so if we think, the banana fairies. The banana fairies are not needed to beat the game. You cannot collect it. You don't have to collect a single banana fairy and you can still beat the game. Alternatively, if you're trying to go for 100%, the banana fairies are just around where golden bananas are. Every time you find a banana fairy in a room with a golden banana, and you can't miss it because the banana fairy makes a noise that it's nearby or something. And it's very easy to catch if you're trying to 100% it. So you don't have to worry about it. You just come across it when you see it. And if you're going for 100%, you're probably not going to miss any of those banana fairies. Let's talk about the banana medals. Because here's the thing about the banana medals. You just get them automatically for collecting bananas. You collect these, you get these automatically. Don't even have to worry about them, right? The blueprints. The blueprints are just a way to collect golden bananas. So if you're trying to collect all the golden bananas, you have to get the blueprints anyways. And if you're not going for 100%, well, this is just an easier way to get a golden banana. So this is just a collectible that's on the side, on your way to success. You don't really have to worry about it. The only difference is that this adds more time at the final end of the game. Not that it is that important. You still need to get some of these, but you don't have to worry about it. It can just linger in the back of your mind, put it on the back burner as a goal, on your way to get all the bananas. The Nintendo coin and the Rareware coin are legitimately hard to get if you're new to this. I got good at Donkey Kong because you have to beat Donkey Kong, the original arcade game, twice to get the Nintendo coin. And then to get the Rareware coin, remember Jetpack, the first game Rare ever made? You have to get a high score on Jetpack or something in order to get that coin.
Fuck?
Yeah, so that's how you get these two coins. They just have two other games.
Play them within Donkey Kong 64?
Yeah, it has these two games in it, from the Atari and from the Sinclair ZX Spectrum or whatever.
Okay.
So Not only do you need these for 100%, you need them to beat the game anyways, but you do have to go out of your way to get them, because there are these specific tasks you have to do. So, we're going to put that on the back burner for now. We still have to pick them up, but you don't have to worry about it, because it's only 2 collectibles in the entire game that you have to worry about. Finally, the Battle Crowns, you just need 4. You do have to go out of your way for some of them, but there's only 4 out of 10 that you actually have to collect to beat the game. For 100%, it's a little bit more difficult, but again, it's 1 per world plus 2 in the overworld, or 3 or something like that. You don't have to worry about it. Back burner, right? So now are you seeing what my point is right now? Look at the collectibles we do have to worry about.
Them fucking nanners.
Exactly. If you want to play Donkey Kong 64, you don't worry about it like this. Don't even think about it like this. Just think about it as get the banana. That's all you're doing in Donkey Kong 64 is just get the banana.
Chris, get
Why
the
is
banana.
Chris there?
It's
Get the banana, Chris.
Evolution. You're grabbing the thing
Deltarune.
your instincts put in front of you, but actually you're part of a complicated, integrated system.
Exactly. It's very simple. It's just part of this complicated web that's going on all around you. Your main goal is to get the banana. Which is why Chris is there, by the way, Jackson. You get it?
So in Deltarune,
Yeah.
I haven't played them yet. I played the first one.
Oh, sorry. Anyway,
Wait, what about Deltarune?
There's a person called Queen who's like a robot, like an AI, and she's like got your character Chris in a car, and you're like driving it around like Mario Kart, and she says, "Holy honeycombs, Chris, get the banana,"
and there's like a banana collectible you can get on your way.
and she just says potassium when you grab it.
Oh my god.
It's just like a little joke in the game.
It's funny.
So this is all leading to my final point, which is let's try to quantify this as best as possible. How long does it really take to beat or complete Donkey Kong 64? Because we can tell how long
What's
it
that
is.
creature on the side?
That's Lanky Kong. That's evil Lanky. He's a glitch in the game that appears in a 1 in 100 chance on like one special copy of the game that was found in Miyamoto's garage. But anyways, here's my methodology on what the method to my madness is. I'm gonna watch several playthroughs of Donkey Kong 64, not all the way through, but just to get like some ideas of some basic get the tone and feel for how this playthrough is going. And I'm going to go off of 5 factors. 5 factors I'm trying to collect from each playthrough. 1. What's their former experience with the game? Did they play this as a kid? Do they memorize it like the back of their hand? Or are they completely new at this? Do they know anything or nothing about the game, right? 2nd, final game progress. Do they 100% it by the end of the playthrough, or do they only get like enough to get through the game? Like how much progress do they make by the end? Next up is their playtime. How long does it actually take to beat the game, or 100% it, whichever they go through, right? Next up, we're trying to get the overall struggle. How much difficulty do they have with like the tasks of the game? Do they just falter on like the most difficult parts of the game? And there are some pretty difficult parts. Beaver Bother is not an easy minigame by any stretch of the imagination. Or do they just struggle on everything? Like literally the most easiest things. And I did find someone who does that.
No, yeah, you did.
Finally, backtracking. If you miss a collectible, you have to go back and get it, right? So how many times do you have to do that in Donkey Kong 64? Do you have to backtrack to another world because you forgot something there? Like how crazy does your backtracking have to go, right? So let's watch some playthroughs. You all remember Slim Kirby, right? I complimented him a lot earlier. He was the guy that shot the 30 bananas in the factory.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, we love Slim Kirby. He loves Donkey Kong 64. He's played this since he's a kid. He's an expert on it. He's an expert in his field. Ufology, yes, it's all real. He beats the game with 101%, getting every colored banana, even though you don't actually need to get every colored banana for 100%. He just does it all anyways because he's a pro gamer just like me. I did this too, okay?
What?
I got 101% in this game with every colored banana.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. It's not that hard, guys. Even I can do it. And I'm a boy failure. Anyways, final time to beat the game, 13 hours and 30 minutes. So that's quite a bit chunk of time, but he isn't speedrunning through it. He is trying to explain like the concepts of things, but there's still a decent chunk of time it takes to beat the game. I believe it takes like 10 hours to beat Banjo-Kazooie, so it takes a significant more amount of time. Reasonably struggled, died very few times, but he did have difficulty with some of the hardest challenges, except for one which he did on his first try, which was cool, by the way. Shout out to Slim Kirby.
Yeah.
And he did not need to backtrack at all. He already knew where everything was, so he wouldn't even need to worry about backtracking. He's a navigation king, right? So all in all, his final verdict, this game is a masterpiece. He loves it.
It's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece. But he also just is already an expert in this game, so why does his opinion matter, right? I mostly included this as like a basic for reference of like, if you're an expert in this game, this is what the game is like for you, right? This is what the game was like for me, for instance. Next up, this guy called Grapefruit. Who here has heard of Grapefruit? You've heard of Grapefruit. My man, Grapefruit, he plays this game. He played it as a kid as well, but he's very hazy on it, and so he barely remembers anything about it. He remembers, like, there's a guy called Chunky Kong, and he's big. He remembers that much. So he's not that much of an expert, but he still knows about it. And he beats the game with about 50% completion. He beats enough of the game to get to the end, and has a little bit left over at the end. He doesn't get even close to 100%, though. Are we recording?
Yep.
He died a lot at the end of the game. He had a lot of challenges. He found a lot of difficulty with this game, and he got lost a lot. He meandered throughout the game, but he mostly vibed through the whole thing. Like, he would walk around and just sort of, like, get the open air of, like, Creepy Castle or whatever. He'd just take it all in. And because of that, his final time is 32 hours. So maybe this is like the average playthrough for someone who's playing Donkey Kong 64 for the first time. Even with some memory of where things are, some memory of the game, he kept getting lost, kept finding difficulty, and in the end it took him a long time to beat, right? His verdict was, oh man, because he did enjoy the game in the end, and he was just more sort of a vibey game. He played with his friend and he had a bunch of fun with it. It was difficult, but it was like not like an annoying difficulty. He just sort of like vibed through the whole thing. It was, you know, wow, that was a game.
That was a game.
We like to play. I don't know how popular these people are, but I've heard of them before this.
Weren't they called We Like to Pray?
That might be their former name.
Okay, because they had like maybe they changed their name.
Yeah. I think I remember it that way. But these guys, We Like to Play, they did something special. They played Donkey Kong 64 with 5 people. Each person got their own Kong. And because of that, they had varying levels of experience. Some people were an expert in the game, other people didn't really play video games all that much, and they had this wide range of skill level. So if we look at it that way, they beat the game with about 78% completion, not 100%, but a lot more than the last guy, am I right? Everyone played really well, little to no deaths. Didn't play as well as Slim Kirby, but like, they did pretty well. They didn't die that many times. They did not die many times, excuse me. And they did have to backtrack a bit, but that's just because, like, if you're not the one in play, you might not be paying attention to where everything is or where you have to go back to, and so you might get lost a lot easier, because you'll just sort of spawn in the middle of the level without, like, a guide or anything like that. And their total playtime was about 13 hours.
Commonality. 13 hours was for the first one.
Yeah, 13 hours was for the first one, so it's about the same amount of time, but they get less progress, and the people are less skilled at the game, so it seems reasonable to assume that maybe there's something spectacular about the last guy who had to play it for 32 hours to get less completion, right? Or maybe it's just that little bit of experience made the difference. And the final verdict, it was fun. It was like a little fun time with friends that they had. It was like, woo, I'm playing Donkey Kong 64, woo! Next up, who knows this guy? He knows.
I've heard of this
He's
guy.
heard of H-Bomber guy. Ed,
I think I've seen him before or something.
you better know this guy's name right fucking now.
Is that Dislight on your phone?
Yeah.
What are you doing? We're giving a Donkey Kong lecture. This is very important information for your future.
Are you playing as Markiplier? What's going on?
What? What do you mean I'm playing as Markiplier?
That's
Markiplier's
the
in that
only thing I can
game.
think of
No, they took
to
him
play.
out.
Oh,
He's not in Dislight anymore. He's gone.
look, I didn't know that. Okay.
What's your favorite Esper?
I don't honestly know. Brewster's cool.
So H-Bomber guy, the reason he plays this game is because he mentions he never 100%ed this game as a kid, and he decides to do a charity event where he's going to 100% the game on stream all the way through in sort of a marathon kind of sense. So he's streaming his whole 100% playthrough. Because of that, obviously he reaches 100%. It was his goal after all. That's the end state of his playthrough. He had a lot of difficulty with it, especially with the biggest challenges in the game. He did not find this playthrough very easy, and backtracking, he got lost a lot, he struggled a bit. There's this scene where, like, AOC comes onto his stream, and he, because it was for, like, Mermaids, the trans charity, so, like, AOC comes on to have a word, like, hey, everybody, support me in the whatever, and then he asks AOC, like, hey, Do you know how to activate the power on Frantic Factory? Do you know where I have to go to get the power on? And AOC's like, what? It's like, sorry, I did that. That was totally unprofessional of me. I really apologize. But guess how long it took him to beat this game? 100%.
45 hours.
Wrong. 58 hours.
Oh.
It takes him, like, over 3 days to do this. Or, like, not over 3 days. It takes him 2 days plus to beat this game. 2 days, 10 hours. Beat this game. It took a long time. I don't know if he took breaks during that because I just counted how long the stream was. So it might have been that like he took like 8 hours total of breaks or something like that, or he was just really exhausted by the end and so he kind of burnt out. And his conclusion was those beavers because he didn't have a coherent thought by the end of this. Okay, I don't know what this guy's opinions on Donkey Kong 64 were, and I don't think he knows what his opinions are on them anymore. Right?
There was just too much content for him to feel. It's just all
rolled over him, and he became a mass. But finally, let's talk about this guy.
Oh no!
Darkside Phil plays Donkey Kong 64. You all might know Donkey Kong 64 or Darkside Phil. He's a little notorious online, though I don't know.
He's like one of the best Street Fighter players out there.
He was like number 4 in EVO. You're right. In 2005, he was number 4 in EVO.
No. Wait. Quick aside. This thing he started doing with Street Fighter 6 is that he kept complaining about it because he kept getting like his ass beat online when the game came out. So he kept complaining about it. Everyone was like, "Bro, you're washed. Bro, you're washed. You're washed. You're washed."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah. Well, I'll show you." So then recently, what he started doing is whenever you get like counter hit. And it like says counter hit on the screen. He put his like face thing so it covers up the counter hit.
Oh right, because people were pointing. So the way it works is that if you're doing an attack,
I literally wasn't doing anything. And
if you attack someone and they punish your attack, it's a counter, right? So it was like he's spamming buttons in the middle of a combo string. He's mashing in the middle of a combo string, so he keeps getting punished for mashing. Then he argued he wasn't doing anything, and then people pointed out the counter hit meant he was doing something, because otherwise it wouldn't be a counter hit. So he covers up that counter hit thing with his face cam, so no one can call it out.
But you can still see because it like comes in from the side.
Wait, you can?
No, it comes in from the side and then it drops down.
Dude, I gotta see these.
It's the funniest shit ever.
And whoever beats Darkside Phil first wins the game.
Oh my god.
Better Street Fighter player, whoever beats
The better
Darkside Phil.
Street Fighter player.
It takes
What if there was a Kryptonian here?
Right.
Yeah, so anyways, Darkside Phil plays this game, beats it in 32 hours, right? He struggles basically with everything, as you can see from earlier with our little discussion. Any little thing in the game he had trouble with. He spent like 2 hours on Beaver Bother. He spent like an hour on Crazy Kong Clamor. He spent like way too much time on every little aspect of the game. It was ridiculous how much
reaction
work he put in.
time of a whopping 3 seconds.
It might be that he had some lag in his system because I know I've seen Joel play this game on Virtual Console, which Darkside Phil also used, and Joel also reported that there was some like lag with it when you're running it on a capture card on Virtual Console. So that might be part of why there's so much lag. But also, this guy just sucks at everything. So like, he couldn't stop complaining about anything. And like, if there was lag, he probably would have noticed. So I think he would call it out. I'm not sure. That's my theory. He backtracked quite a bit. But here's the thing. Darkside Phil 100% Donkey Kong 64.
Alright.
He gets everything in the game. He does every little bit of content, beats it in 32 hours. Which means he got more content in less time than Grapefruit did. Or that, technically more time, but he still did more of the content than We Like to Play did. And he beat it in less time 100% than each Bomber guy did. So I really think this is ridiculous. This game isn't that hard. Darkside Phil can do it. You can too. But also, this wasn't a very good sample size and proves nothing. So maybe I didn't get to any conclusion. I didn't cherry pick necessarily. I did try to find as many like sources as I did. And I think I found some that contradict my opinion, like the guy that played it for 50 hours, or the guy that played it for 30 hours and got basically nothing done. So I didn't try to cherry pick, but it also, like, 5 people does not a good source make. And also, maybe this is just me, but I find I have a higher tolerance for tedium in media, so maybe that's a part of why I don't think this game is very tedious, and I'm coming in this with a bias.
Oh, now you have a higher tolerance for tedium.
What do you mean? Did I ever contradict that before?
When Canon's Core, Sonic Adventure 2.
Canon's Core, Sonic... Well, no, that wasn't tedium. I was having difficulty with the level. It was a struggle. I was struggling.
Oh, you were struggling.
I was having a hard time, man. It wasn't that it was tedious. It wasn't even really that tedious. The level wasn't tedious. It was just hard.
Okay.
Yeah. And also maybe play Donkey Kong 64. I think that persuaded... What do you mean, why?
Like, why should I play it?
If you like to explore the world, do you ever wonder, what if I was on a pirate ship? Or, like, what if I was in space? Do you ever wonder these things, Tyler? And you just want to go out there and explore? Donkey Kong 64 is that, but a lot. You do that a lot, and the game makes you explore because you have to go get the golden bananas, and you have to explore as different people, step in their shoes, and experience the world as they did. And I'm getting a little pretentious.
Okay, wait. Should I play Banjo-Kazooie or Kong 64?
Well, what? I gotta know more about you first. How much do you like platforming in your video games?
I've never actually played a platformer.
Donkey Kong 64 would be better. In my opinion.
Is Banjo-Kazooie, like, not platform noob friendly?
It's not that it's platform noob friendly, it's just that it's a lot more platforming. The game is more designed to be a platformer, where Donkey Kong 64 is a collection quest. It's more of like an adventure you go on. And there is some platforming in it, but not as much as Banjo-Kazooie. And the platforming in Donkey Kong 64 is easier than it is in Banjo-Kazooie. Most of the challenge of this game comes from the fact that you, like, Beaver Bother and the Beetle race, and racing the rabbit from the tortoise and the hare. You have to beat him in a race, but he's really fast, and he doesn't slow down. He never slows down, Tyler.
Video.
So, with all that in mind, Tyler, would you want to play Donkey Kong 64?
The collection quest just sounds like a not fun, kind of tedious.
Okay, I can understand that.
But I also play Starfield, so I think I only have so much room for like a tedious thing in my life.
I think tedium is like an on-off. So like your tolerance for tedium is a spectrum, but it counts for all kinds of tedium. No matter what the tedium is, you would be able to tolerate. So if you're able to do like the Preston Garvey quest in Fallout 4 80 times, you could probably beat this game and be fine. Ed, what do you think?
I don't want to play this game.
Okay, what's your favorite Kong?
Funky Kong.
Well, of the 5.
Oh.
You don't know?
I guess default Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's my favorite too. Except I already said Chunky Kong, but that's my favorite to play. What about you, Jackson?
What?
What's your favorite, what do you think of Donkey Kong 64?
It seems like it would be, I would play it.
You would play it?
Alright, so you're playing it tonight?
No, not tonight. Not tonight.
That's physically impossible.
We have the emulator. Yeah, but not
PC's
tonight.
taking a little nap
But
right
you're
now.
interested. What's your favorite Kong? Man.
Are we just talking about the playable ones?
Yeah.
Fuck.
We'll
Which ones are playable?
Deion, what do you think about Donkey Kong 64?
I'm not playing it.
Okay, fair enough. What's your favorite Kong?
Chunky.
Yeah!
Is that your favorite?
That's Chunky Kong's my favorite. Donkey Kong's my favorite to play. Donkey Kong's the most fun.
I wouldn't say Funky Kong.
But Funky Kong's not playable. Why not? What about Lanky Kong? Do you like Lanky Kong?
Yeah, he's alright. Yeah.
Alright, we'll go with
Actually,
Lanky Kong.
yeah, I picked Lanky Kong.
Tyler, do you have a favorite?
No.
Oh yeah, okay.
Can't
Alright.
keep long.
So that's the end of the lecture,
No, I'm
right?
gonna swap
That's
for
it?
Chunky Kong just to fit tough.
That's the end of the lecture, everyone.
That's been shocking you!
Unless I have a proposal for everyone. Remember that one person that played like a 5 Kong 5-player game here? I'm noticing 5 people in this room right now. So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be really fun if we cut that tedium that a lot of people hate about this game into 5 sections, so you only have to do a fifth of the content? And if we don't 100%, that's even less. So you don't have to worry about that much tedium, you just have to play your character, and we can all play together and have a fun, friendly time. What do you say, guys?
Alright.
This one. I'm getting a no from Deion.
Are we playing Donkey Kong 64?
Later, but yes, that's my proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright.
I guess.
Yeah, let's do it! Yeah! You all gotta pick a Kong, that means. You all gotta decide which Kong.
That's why you asked us her favorite fucking
Yeah!
Kong.
So you get Lanky Kong. Lanky Kong has the hardest challenges in the game, by the way.
Cool.
That's also why he asked if you'd be willing to
play. Just in case you missed that one.
You could also just change which Kong you play as, because I can do all the hard stuff.
It's fine. I'm decent at platformers.
But this is the platforming challenge. You have to race. You have to race the hare from the tortoise and the hare. So you can just change what you want. It doesn't matter. None of these
figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Thank you, everyone. This has been Shaka University. And we got through a whole lecture about the Donkey Kong 64 without talking about the DK rap. Everyone, I'm proud of myself.
Holy shit!
Here we go.
I didn't even think about that.
Not funny.
Not once did I
Not
think
once.
about that. Except for the one time someone made a joke about it because of Diddy Kong or something else.
Yeah, I said coconut.
His
gun.
coconut gun can fire his spray.
Yeah.
So I guess we technically did mention it.
Yeah, we
it doesn't really count.
It's going to hurt.
We didn't mention it once, except for the time where we said some of the lyrics, but that doesn't count as a mention.
And then there's Chunky.
He's dead. CK. Chunky's dead. It's yeah. Are we done recording? Are we still recording? Okay. Should I put on something else? Do you want to like watch? Do you want to watch like the garden music video, the mission music video?
Let's fire up that emulator.
You want to play Donkey Kong 64 now?
Let's listen to Black Gaze. Let's go.
All right.